Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, we are from group 5. We will explain the material about process scheduling on operating system. Before explaining the material, I will introduce our group member. First, Adril Ferdiansah Ramadhani. Second, Kevin Raida Fal Gibran. Third is me, Lukman Ali Din Ramadan. And last, Naula Nabila. Definition process scheduling. What is process scheduling? Process scheduling is a mechanism in the operating system that organizes the order of execution of various processes that are waiting to use the CPU. Process scheduling is in charge of determining what process or which process will run, then how long the process will last, so that computer performance is truly optimal. This is an example of simple picture of process scheduling. CPU is where the process is executed. Process A is process that are currently active and using CPU. Process B and process C are process in the queue that are waiting for their turn to be executed. Next, type scheduling. Scheduling has three types. First, short-term scheduling, in charge of choosing which process will be executed by the CPU from the ready queue. Second, medium-term scheduling, manage processes that are in suspense state to be transferred back to the ready queue. And last, long-term scheduling, in charge of deciding which process will be moved from the batch queue to the ready queue. And this is an example picture of scheduling type. Short-term scheduler determines which process from the ready queue will be executed next by the CPU. Medium-term scheduler manage suspend process and decides when the process will resume back to the ready queue. Last, long-term scheduling determines the process from the batch queue and move it to the ready queue if there are results available. Next slide will be explained by my friend. Thank you.
So there is two scheduling strategy, preemptive and non-preemptive. Preemptive means the operating system can interrupt a currently running task to assign CPU time to another task. So this type of scheduling is commonly used in modern multitasking operating systems like general purpose CPUs such as Intel and AMD, and our mobile CPUs that can be found in smartphone and tablets such as ERM processors. There is benefit of preemptive scheduling. Thus, preemptive scheduling allows high priority tasks to run sooner, improving system responsiveness, especially for real-time or interactive system. By sharing CPU time, each process gets a chance to execute, so which can help avoid issues like CPU monopolization. The example of preemptive scheduling is round robin. In contrast, there is non-preemptive scheduling, meaning it cannot be interrupted or stopped until once a process starts executing. So microcontrollers use non-preemptive scheduling in embedded systems such as Arduino, STM32, or ATmega series. Everything must have benefits. Non-preemptive scheduling is simpler to implement because there's no need to the operating system to switch between tasks constantly, and that will make non-preemptive scheduling a slower CPU per head compared to preemptive scheduling. The example of non-preemptive scheduling is first come, first serve, or FCFS. So this is the example scenario of preemptive and non-preemptive scheduling. Imagine a multitasking operating system running a game and an update. So in preemptive scheduling, if a high priority task like a system update starts, the OS can pause the game temporarily to give CPU time to update without shutting down the other tasks entirely. And in contrast, there is non-preemptive scheduling. If the download process starts first, it will hold the CPU until it finishes. Like you have to finish your game first before an update is starting, regardless of whether a more urgent task like the game needs CPU time, there is no regard.
Okay, I will explain about algorithm involved in the scheduling process. There are four types of algorithm, namely FCFS, first come first serve, and then SGF, shortest job first, priority scheduling, and round robin scheduling. I will explain the FCFS and SGF algorithms. First come first serve. It does not matter whether the burst time is long or short. FCFS algorithm is non-preemptive scheduling. A process that is being worked on must be complete first and then other process can be served, which means that this algorithm must complete the previous process before continuing another process. For example, I have a table that has several contents such as process, arrival time, and burst time. So what does that mean? Process in the process that are several process in the process table are several processes that will be run by the system. Arrival time is the arrival time of each process, and burst time is the time it takes each process to run. And the scheduling table of this process has a waiting time of 5.5 milliseconds. How do we know that? Next, I will explain the calculation. Okay. To work on the algorithm, we will make a line first, like this. On the left side, we write 0, and on the right side, we write 18. 18 comes from the sum of all burst time. First, we will run process 0, which has a burst time of 5. While process 0 is running, process 1 and 2 enter the queue. Process 0 finish at 5 time 5, and there is a queue between process 1 and 2. We will run process 1 because this is FCFS, which is the same as FIFO, or first in first out. Continue each process as shown in the picture like this. After we create the Gantt chart line, next we will calculate the waiting time required for all process to be executed. The way is that we reduce the arrival time on the Gantt chart of each process with their respective burst times. After that, we add up all the results of each process, and the result is 2022. Then we divide by 4, which results in 5.5 milliseconds. We divide by 4 because there are 4 processes. Okay, next is shortest job first. In this algorithm, each process in the ready queue will be executed based on the smallest burst time. This results in a short waiting time for each process, and because of this, the average waiting time is also short. So it can be said that this algorithm is an optimal algorithm. This algorithm can be both preemptive and non-preemptive. So we will use the same table as the previous algorithm and find that the waiting time when using the non-preemptive SGF algorithm is 2.775 milliseconds. Same as before, we start from process 0 and there are queues for process 1 and 2. We will proceed directly to process 2 because process 1 has a larger burst time than the process 2. And so on, compare each process burst time with other processes until it hits 18. Then calculate the arrival time of each process on the Gantt chart line minus the burst time of each process for each process. Get the result by 11 and divided by 4. The result is 2.75 milliseconds. We can see here why the SGF algorithm is more optimal than FCFS. Next is the preemptive SGF algorithm, where this algorithm can be interrupted by other processes while it's running. As an example, we will calculate the waiting time from the following new table. The result is 4 milliseconds. We start from process 1, which has a burst time of 8. Each time we move forward the burst time of a process will decrease. As long as process 0 lasts, another process interrupt process 0. For example, at arrival time 1, where there is a queue between process 0 equals 7 and process 1 equals 4, then process 1 is executed first because the burst time is smaller. Because the burst time is smaller. The next process are process 2 and 3, but process 1 is still running because process 1 has a small burst time, and so on. Immediately calculate the waiting time. Still using the same formula, we find that the waiting time result from the table is 4 milliseconds. And that's how you calculate the SGF or shortest job first algorithms.
It's one of the process scheduling algorithm in the operating system that determines the order of process execution based on its priority level. In this algorithm, each process is assigned a priority value, and the process with the highest priority will be executed first by the CPU. If there are two or more processes with the same priority, there are usually additional rules that determine the order, such as the first come, first served, or FCFS rule, or the round-robin rule. Priority can be determined based on A, time limit, B, memory requirements, C, file access, D, comparison between IRO burst and CPU burst, and then E, process importance level. Okay, next. Alright, we have three processes that will be executed by the operating system. The first process arrives at time 0, has a priority order of 3, and has a burst time of 10 seconds. Next, burst time is the time needed for a process to be fully executed by the operating system. The second process arrives at time 3, has a priority order of 1, and has a burst time of 3 seconds. Next, the third process arrives at time 5, has a priority order of 2, and has a burst time of 4 seconds. The unit of time here is just for example purposes. Okay, now let's try to run this process. We see in the arrival time column that process 1 arrival at time 0, so at time 0 process 1 will be executed. We look at the next process at time 1, there is no process executed. At time 2, there is no process executed until time 3. When process 2 arrive, we see that process 2 has a priority order of 1. Meaning process 2 has a higher priority than process 1 because we are using preemptive mode. Process 1 will be paused temporarily, and then process 2 will be executed. Next, at time 5, process 3 arrive. We see that process 3 has a priority order of 2, meaning process 2 has a higher priority. Therefore, process 2 will continue to be executed first. Now process 2 has finished execution. We see there are still 2 processes left that haven't been finished, which are process 1 and process 3. Process 3 has a higher priority than process 1, so process 3 will be executed first. After process 3 finishes, process 1 will continue to be executed. Okay, next, we conclude the afferents turnaround time and waiting time. First, we fill in the completion time column, which is the time when a process finishes execution. We see process 1 finish at time 17, process 2 finish at time 6, and process 3 finish at time 10. Next, we conclude turnaround time or TAT, which is the time needed for a process from the start of execution until it's finished. TAT can be concluded using the formula CT minus AT. Process 1 is 17, process 2 is 3, and process 3 is 5. Next, we conclude waiting time or VT using the formula TAT minus BT. Process 1 is 7, process 2 is 0, and process 3 is 1. So, we can find the afferents of turnaround time for these 3 processes, which is 833 seconds or 8 seconds, and the afferents waiting time which is 2.6 6, 7 seconds or 2 seconds. Okay, that is the explanation about preemptive scheduling.
Okay, I will continue the presentation. Round-robin scheduling is one of the process scheduling algorithms often used in operating system to organize process execution fairly. Yet, process get the same time allocation or called time quantum or time slice to be executed by the CPU. After the time quantum passes, the process is put on hold and put to the back of the ready queue. The algorithm repeats the cycle in turn so that each progress gate is thrown to execute in a round-robin fashion. The following is an example of executing a number of processes using the round-robin scheduling algorithm. It is known that the process time enters process 1 from the 0th second, and the process time is 4 seconds. The time enter process 2 from the 3rd second, and the process time is 7 seconds. The time enter process 3 from the 5th second, and the process time is 3 seconds. The time enters process 4 from the 8th, and the process time is 9 seconds. The time enter process 5 from the 10th second, and the process time is there, and the process time is 3 seconds. With the time quantum is 5, the process that is run first must be crazy from process 1 and start at second 0. The process 1 process is finished when the 4th second according to the leg of the process 1 process is finished. After that, it is continued by process 2 with a process time of 7 seconds. Since the quantum is only 5 seconds, the process 2 process will only run for 5 seconds for the 4 second and will stop at the 9 second. So there are still 2 seconds left in the process 2 process. After that, it is a continue by process 3 with a process duration of 3 seconds. Process 3 will start from the 9th second and stop at the 12th second. Process 3 is finished. After that, it is continued by process 4 with a process duration of 9 seconds. Since the quantum is only 5 seconds, the process 4 process will only run for 5 seconds for the 12th second and will stop at the 17th second. So there are still 4 seconds left in the process 4 process. After that, it is continued by process 5 with a process duration of 3 seconds. Process 5 will start from the 17th second and stop at the 20 second. Process 5 is finished. So when it has react the last process, the previous process that has not been complete will be run again according to the previous sequence. So the next process is process 2 with a remaining process duration of 2 seconds. Process 2 will start from the 20 second and stop at the 22 second. Process 2 is finished. After that, it is continued by process 4 with the remaining process time. The process was 4 seconds. Process 4 will start from the 22 second and stop at the 26 second, and process 4 is finished. With this, all processes are complete. This is how the process scheduling occurs in round robin. Next, calculate the waiting time for each process. The method is the completion time minus the process time minus the entry time. If you want to calculate the waiting time to be x to process, then add up the waiting time for each process and divide the number of processes below. The result is 32 per 5. Next is how to calculate TAT, or turnaround time. The method is namely the waiting time plus the process time. If you want to calculate TAT for the entire process, then add up the waiting time for each process and divide the number of processes below. The result is 58 per 5. That was the discussion about what round robin is and how the scheduling process occurs in a process. Conclusion of presentation. Process scheduling is an important component in operating system. The selection of an appropriate scheduling algorithm is highly dependent on system characteristic and user requirement. The main goal of scheduling is to achieve and balance between various objectives so that the system can operate efficiently and respond to value. Okay.